Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Known Classics. This is episode number 2816 and Doubleshot number 2710. And in case you're curious, still, this has been the last video of today. Yes, I have reviewed a lot of Comic Corners today because I finished some stuff today because I figured out I have a day off, why not get this done? This one is discussing basically more Martian Manhunter, but also the replacement series for Hawk World. Martian Manhunter, this is going to be the second to last book to discuss for him. This one being Martian Manhunter American Secrets, written by Gerald Jones, art by Eduardo Barreto, I think it's Barreto, yes. Called American Secrets is released in 1982, just a few years before even the Manhunter special. Now, I actually have forgotten to cover this series because the original plan was after do Volume 2, because I already did Volume 3. The original plan was to do Volume 4, and that was it, but I completely forgot to do this one. So I figured, though, get this done. It's a quick mini series. Mostly put, this book is set, I think, in the 50s. You could say this book is sort of a modern retelling of the old 50 stories, a little bit from Martian Manhunter, basically knowing that they came to Earth. And there's some killings here. There's not much, there's no racism per se. Yeah, Martian Manhunter doing this thing. The artwork is gorgeous. I love the artwork here for this one. It's basically kind of like a noir. It's a crime noir series, but it's Martian Manhunter style. Yeah, where he's in his hotel room, he's attacked by aliens, and he's turned back to his normal Martian Manhunter form, fights off these other aliens. Yeah, he's also his detective form. John Jones is here too. I forgot to mention his old partner Diane from the 50s book. She came back for the Volume 2. Yes. So yeah, then we have this other woman who's here, and it's very obviously, based on the clothing, it is obviously the 50s. Yes, given how people were smoking here, it is just a story featuring Martian Manhunter in the 1950s. Yeah, all dealing with some minor stuff here. It's like him in a small town. That's mostly exactly what goes on here. There's also a version that looks like Colonel Sanders. Yes. Yeah. Tell me this guy doesn't look like Colonel Sanders, the former owner of the former late owner of KFC. So yeah. And then the second issue ends with appearance by the original Dr. Midnight, Charles Midnighter. Yeah, because it's 50s. My guess is probably just after he retired from being Dr. Midnight. And then we have a flashback of, apparently it looks like him fighting these aliens. And we have quickly this comic book where he's there with Alan Scott and Jay Garrick. And he helps people out in this miniseries. And, of course, he does meet Martian Manhunter at some point in this book. Book is really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I give this book a 9 out of 10. It's a really good book. So, one Martian Manhunter book left to go. Volume 4. And once that's finished, Wonder Woman Volume 2 is next. Okay, so the very next book discussing is from John Ostrander, because I really wanted to talk about this series so badly, because I love this book. We have Manhunter by John Ostrander and Kim Yale. Here we're only discussing the first 7 issues along with issues 10 to 13. Yes, John Ostrander and his late wife Kim Yale wrote this series. There's actually about 2 issues in here where John Ostrander doesn't write them. There's a couple stories, even backup stories here. So this is Wrath, Events, and Millennium, Mark Shaw is back being as Manhunter. He's redesigned his costume, more slick here, and he's become a bounty hunter. And the first person he goes to capture for his bounty is the Penguin. Yep, he captures the Penguin. It's a funny scene here. It's like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, he was on the way and brings him his hat. I thought that was funny. And he turned to custody. And then we have Captain Cole pop up in the issue. Yes. This is the plot thread. It gets brought up again in the final issue of the book. Yep, and of course, then we have basically a origin story of Mark Shaw. Basically, we have one page of a partial retelling of not Millennium, but of his debut back in first issue special number 5. This will be referencing here to his time with Just Like America, stuff with Millennium, when he was Privateer, Czar. And everybody's happy to see him. Now, his younger brother is not happy he became the Manhunter again, because apparently he ruined his life. But everyone else tells him to be quiet. And of course, well, he confronts Captain Cold. And then we have the ending of this thing here, where we have this woman collects mask. Her hair looks like she got a collection like mask of Dr. Midnight. Dr. Midnight. Looks like the Flash, Vigilante. And apparently she really wants to add Manhunter's Master Collection. And that's kind of the storyline for the next 2 issues, basically, because it involves it involves Manhunter going to Japan for a few issues. And it's a lot of fun. The final issue ends with Manhunter dropping up his mask, his first mask he has, at basically her home. And he gets a new mask right afterwards. Now, the reason why that Kim Yale did this issue by herself, because we debut a female cop who appears a few times in this book. And the best way to describe this character is that I think Kim Yale had plans for her to be Mark Shaw's girlfriend. It didn't really go anywhere. Sadly put, she never appeared again after this. This issue 5 was her debut appearance. As for why in the world she never appeared again, I have no freaking idea. And after this issue here, she later appears in a backup story. Appears like a few times in this book. Yeah, it's also the first of like 3 or 4 issues of this book where John S. Martin has no writing for this book. It's called Interface. The woman's name is Sergeant Silva Kendry. And this basically is her debut appearance. And I remember from this book, she only appeared a few times. After this issue here, she next appears a backup story, and she appears like a couple more times after this. Apparently, the last appearance was in Batman Chronicles. Also, she likes basically mandarins. So, after issue 5, she's returned again to issue 11 and 13. Like, she appears like a handful of times in the series. And then she returned to Batman Chronicles, and that was sadly it for her. Yep. There's also Amy Powell. This issue here was kind of her debut. And she would also make her last appearance in Batman Chronicles number 5. Yep. And then next issue here, next couple issues, Jocelyn is back in the book. And it's basically Mark Shaw going after Argent. Who is Argent, I'd ask? Say it was the domestic branch of Task Force X. Yeah, this was the next appearance right after they appeared in Secret Origins number 14. They also appeared in the annual. But yeah, this was their very next appearance. And they debut a couple people here. Anna Marie Vrie. And this is one of like 2 appearances of this character. Who next appeared in the Suicide Squad annual. The annual for Secret Origins. And that was it. Now, the very next issue of this book is basically, the best way to describe this issue is basically Manhunter versus Count Vertigo and Dr. Aquaman for Flash. Okay. I think at the time when this book came out, I think Count Vertigo was still associated with the Suicide Squad, because I think it ended like around this, not long after this book ended. Really interesting idea, the fact of Count Vertigo. He's a basic Green Arrow villain who people forget the fact he is one. Because for some reason, like, he appeared on like the Batman animated series, that would be a Batman villain. And then we have basically, for a couple issues, you have Manhunter wearing this big bulky armor for a couple issues. We also have the Southern Cross Salvage Corporation. They debuted in this issue, and Mark Shaw is kind of associated with them for a very brief period of time. Yeah, he's basically with them for a small chunk of the series. Now, I've already discussed issue 14 already, thanks to being part of the Jonas Directive. But after issue 14, they'll appear again until the final 4 issues of the book. And Manhunter kind of in a way is working with them. He's basically kind of like the group that he's working with here throughout these issues. Mm-hmm. We also first appearance of Checkmate Agent Keith Garrett, who pops up now and again. And we also first appearance of Jeremy Heap. Yeah, a character associated with who got killed off after these few issues. Mm-hmm. It's like basically issues like 10 to 12 is kind of like a complete story arc, if you think of it like that with this group. Mm-hmm. And yes, he does encounter Red Rocket in here. Actually, no, he doesn't. Basically, he just... Well, Red Rocket number 8. And they kind of wrap up the whole story arc with basically this corporation with this issue. Yeah, Jeremy Heap gets killed off here. And more Yakuza and stuff here. And then we move over to issue 13. Oh, come on, seriously. By the way, there is a backup story of this one. Yes. Lieutenant Lucius Beast. Basically, like, one of, like, 2 backup stories in here. 11 also have one, too. Yeah, where she appeared again. And I think it was an issue, a later issue, I think it was 13, where Manhunter apologized for basically nearly ruining her career. And basically she accepts it, and they kind of move on from that. Yeah, I do like issue 13. It's a great issue. Because, of course, he takes a freaking Thomas Blake, a.k.a. the Catman. Yep. Yeah, he made his return. He made a brief guest appearance in this book. And that was it. Yeah. This also was the second issue of this book not have to have Jonas Renner as the writer. So yes, issue 11, we had that detective appear in the backup story. Yeah, did Jonas Renner run? No, it's Kim Yale. So technically, Kim Yale has had 3 solo stories she wrote by herself. But technically, for issue-wise, issue number 13 was the second ever issue of the whole series where Oswald did not write it. The best way to also describe this book, it's her book, and Oswald is basically co-writing the book with her. Because she's listed usually as the head writer of this book. But love these issues. Fantastic. Give these issues a 10 out of 10. And yes, excuse me, there is exactly 10 more issues to go for this book. And afterwards, basically, is on the Hawkman. And then after that, be Manhunter Volume 2, which is only 12 issues. Then it's Hawkman Volume 4 / Hawkgirl Volume 1. And then finally, basically, I'll cap that off. And of course, cap off Manhunter with Manhunter Volume 3. Now, I love the Manhunter book. I kind of wish basically more than just Volume 3 is in trade. Like, get this. Out of this, all 24 issues, only issue 14 is in trade. Nothing else is. Now, I had reviewed issues 8 and 9 already because I crossed over some Flash issues I reviewed. That's where I reviewed them. Yep. But, yeah, that's particularly a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button. Well, that's pretty much it for videos tonight. There'll probably be more videos coming tomorrow. Or the Comic Corners? Maybe. But I'm also going to get this book done by then. Okay? Next video. Bye.